The film opens with a beautiful view of the far north, 1875. Here, among the snow-covered ice, a massive ship with sailors is trapped. They were sent here by the Emperor of Russia himself. This expedition is meant to reach the North Pole and find out what lies at the edge of the world. The sailors are hungry and exhausted. They no longer want to push their way through the icy grip and wish to return home. An officer asks the captain to listen to the sailors' morale, but the captain firmly declares that they will return only after successfully completing the mission, and orders the men to work in shifts. At night, not far from the ship, they hear an explosion. Reaching the site of the blast, the sailors find sled dogs and a wounded man. All around on the snow, there's a large amount of blood from an unknown creature. Suddenly, they hear a wild roar, and it is not a polar bear. The sailors retreat back to the ship and prepare for an attack. A monster follows closely on their heels. Spotting it, they open heavy fire, but the bullets have no effect on the creature. The monster kills the sailors one by one and demands that they hand over the rescued man, calling him by name, Victor.
Victor! Victor!
The officer pulls a heavily modified musket from a crate and fires a couple of shots, knocking the monster overboard. Enraged, the creature tries to overturn the ship and almost succeeds, but at the last moment, the captain fires into the ice, sending it beneath the water. Regaining consciousness, the rescued man introduces himself as Victor Frankenstein and declares that he is the one who created this monster. Victor says that the creature will return, because it is immortal. In the captain's cabin, he begins to tell his story, who this monster is, and how fate led them to the edge of the world. From this point on, we witness the story of Victor's life as told from his own perspective. He was the son of a famous baron, an outstanding surgeon known to all as Leopold Frankenstein. From early childhood, his father strictly trained Victor in the family craft. Victor's mother was pregnant and died during childbirth. Victor blames his father for her death. His father responds that he did everything he could and that death cannot be defeated. Victor declares that he will be able to defeat death. That same night, he has a prophetic dream in which he sees an angel. Soon after, his father dies, and Victor is left alone with his younger brother William. Time passes. 1855. Victor studies medicine in various fields and attempts to convince a disciplinary tribunal to broaden the boundaries of morality and allow him to continue his research. He conducts experiments in which he assembles a living being from the body parts of different people, like building with Lego. The senior members of the tribunal declare that only God gives life and only He can take it away. Victor is accused of blasphemy and expelled from the medical college. When Victor returns home, he is met by a certain Heinrich Harlander, carrying a letter of recommendation from William. Heinrich explains that William has become a successful businessman and will soon marry his niece, Elizabeth. William wants to visit Victor to introduce him to his fiancée. Heinrich, meanwhile, has long been following Victor's work. He also attended Victor's presentation before the tribunal, which made a strong impression on him. Heinrich suggests meeting at his estate in a couple of days to show Victor something that might interest him and aid his research. Agreeing, Victor visits Heinrich's estate, where we learn that in the past he was a military surgeon, later built a career in the military, and now owns several weapons factories. Heinrich shows Victor an old artifact, a wooden slab depicting the secrets of the human body. He directly offers Victor full sponsorship for his research and experiments. Victor asks what Heinrich wants in return. In response, Heinrich says he has only one request, but he cannot reveal it yet. Victor asks for time to consider. Soon, his brother William arrives with his fiancée, Elizabeth. During the meal, a spark ignites between Elizabeth and Victor. Then Heinrich shows Victor a huge tower where he will be able to conduct his research. Victor agrees to the deal with Heinrich. Work begins in full swing. Heinrich's contractors manufacture all the necessary equipment for Victor, and also deliver the fresh bodies of executed criminals. Victor asks William to stay in the tower to oversee the production and installation of the equipment. Meanwhile, Victor, while in the city, secretly starts courting Elizabeth. Victor reaches a dead end in his research and cannot manage to bring a corpse back to life. Heinrich notices Victor courting his niece, but chooses to turn a blind eye. He is only interested in the results of the research. Coldly and without emotion, he warns Victor he has only 1 week to make progress in his experiments. After that, due to the end of the war, his funding will be cut off. Elizabeth comes to Victor. She refuses his kiss and makes it clear that nothing will happen between them. After some time, Victor manages to find a way to reanimate the dead. Following a major military clash, Heinrich delivers him a large number of fresh corpses. Victor works tirelessly, fully dedicating himself to preparing the experiment, while Heinrich assists him with the manual labor. To complete the experiment, they need a storm, a lightning strike that must trigger the device they invented. The weather turns bad, and rain begins. Victor prepares the apparatus and accidentally discovers that Heinrich is infected with syphilis. Heinrich reminds Victor of their deal and asks to place his mind into the body of the creature they are about to revive. Victor is adamantly against it. Heinrich's brain and other organs are already unsuitable for transplantation. Heinrich cannot accept this truth and tries to interfere with the experiment. A struggle breaks out between them, and as a result of an accident, Heinrich dies. Not wanting to miss the opportunity, Victor continues the experiment. After completing it, he realizes he has failed. Exhausted, he falls asleep. In his dream, he sees the angel again. Upon waking, Victor sees a living creature. The creature is naive and has the intellect of a child. At first, Victor cares for it warmly and tries to teach it to speak, but it only repeats one word: Victor. Time passes, and Victor realizes the incredible strength and regenerative abilities of the being he created. He chains it up and begins to treat it like an animal. Suddenly, William and Elizabeth arrive at the tower, searching for Heinrich. Victor lies, saying that Heinrich is away. When Victor shows his invention to his brother, Elizabeth finds the monster in the tower's basement and feels sympathy for it. She accuses Victor of being inhumane, while William, on the contrary, is proud of his brother. At night, Elizabeth secretly descends to the creature, showing a strange interest in it. The logic of her actions remains a mystery even to the writers. Apparently, height still matters. Victor catches Elizabeth after her visit to the creature. He reminds her of his broken heart and starts to feel jealous of her attention to the monster. Irritated, Victor demands obedience from the creature and beats it. In response, the creature, enraged by the beatings, rips out a metal rod and effortlessly twists the metal. Choking with rage, the creature repeatedly screams Victor's name.
Victor! Victor!
The next morning, a frightened Victor shows his brother Heinrich's body. He lies, claiming that the creature killed Heinrich, and asks William to return to Vienna with Elizabeth. Victor, meanwhile, prepares to blow up the castle. Descending one last time to speak with the creature, he declares that if it says even one new word, he will not kill it. The creature repeatedly repeats Victor's name, and in the final moment, it says Elizabeth's name. Victor is horrified. He sets the tower on fire and runs outside. Hearing the creature's screams, he decides to return, but just then a massive explosion occurs. Victor loses a leg, and William and Elizabeth rescue him. Shortly afterward, the monster bursts into the captain's cabin and interrupts the story. The captain steps in to defend Victor. The creature, calling Victor his creator, accuses him of telling a one-sided story and demands that his own version of events be heard. We then see the continuation of the story from his perspective. It turns out he managed to break free from his iron shackles and escape the explosion through a tunnel leading to the sea. He begins to explore the world on his own. He wanders through the forest, observes living beings, and tastes berries. Soon, local hunters shoot at him. After escaping them, he hides in a shed near a nearby house. The next morning, a large family of hunters returns to the house. Among them is a blind old man who teaches his granddaughter to read. Secretly watching them, he gradually learns to speak. Wanting to repay the old man in some way, he helps the family whenever he can, which leads them to believe he is a kind spirit of the forest. After seeing wolves tear apart sheep and then being shot dead by hunters themselves, he begins to understand the nature of violence that fills this world. The family leaves the cabin to spend the winter in the city, but the old man refuses to leave the house. The creature enters the cabin for the first time and meets the old man. The old man begins to treat him warmly, having sensed his wounded and naive soul. After reading all the books in the house, the creature starts to question who he really is. The old man tells him that he once killed a good man and regretted it for his entire life. He urges the creature to let go of the past and advises him to return to where it all began in order to find answers. Returning to the ruins of the tower, the creature finds journals and experimental notes. From them, he learns who his creator is. Shaken by this terrible truth, the creature goes back to the old man and discovers that wolves have attacked him. He kills several of them and drives the pack away. Hearing the creature's painful story, the old man comforts him, calling him a good man and his friend. Soon after saying these encouraging words, the old man takes his last breath. At that moment, hunters burst into the house and, believing that the creature killed the old man, open fire. One of them rushes forward and wounds him with a sickle. The creature kills the attacker, chooses to spare two others, and escapes. However, the hunters pursue him and, after firing all their ammunition, kill him. Time passes and the creature comes back to life, with all the wounds on his body fully healed. Realizing that he cannot die, he decides to find Victor and demand that he create an equally immortal female life companion for him. Victor has a dream in which he once again sees the angel, but suddenly the angel removes its mask, revealing that a devil has been hiding beneath it all along. On the day of his brother's wedding, Victor, now lame and wearing a prosthetic leg, comes to congratulate Elizabeth and ask her forgiveness. In response, he receives a slap. Returning to his chambers, Victor encounters the creature. Shocked that he has learned to speak and think, Victor refuses his request to create an immortal woman for him, fearing that this could lead to the creation of an entire race of invincible mutants. The creature flies into a rage and begins hurling Victor around the room. Suddenly, Elizabeth appears and gently embraces the creature. Victor tells her to step aside so he can kill him, but she steps between them and is accidentally shot in the stomach. At that moment, guests and William rush into the room. Victor assures everyone that the creature attacked Elizabeth. William and the others charge at the monster, but he throws them aside as if they were children. William strikes his head against the corner of the fireplace and bleeds out. The creature lifts Elizabeth into his arms. She asks him to take her with him. He leaves with her into the depths of the snow-covered forest, to a cave. Victor tries to save William, but his brother refuses help, saying before his death that Victor himself is the real monster. Meanwhile, inside the cave, on her deathbed, Elizabeth delivers a speech to the creature about the tragic romance between them. She reflects on love, fate, and how beautiful it is to die under the gaze of his pure eyes. A reminder, today she was supposed to get married, but apparently, true passion is dying in a cave with a monster. Poor William. While he was dying heroically, Elizabeth was already delivering a love speech to someone else. A rare case where a man was turned into a cuck, quite literally after death. Victor enters the cave and finds Elizabeth already dead. An uneven fight breaks out between him and the creature. The creature mocks Victor, mutilates his nose, and orders him to pursue him for the rest of his life. Declaring that he is now Victor's master, the creature disappears into the snowy storm. This prolonged chase eventually leads Victor to the very edge of the north. There, he finds the creature and hopes to destroy him using dynamite. The odds are unequal. The creature breaks several of Victor's limbs and, willingly taking the dynamite into his own hands, orders Victor to light the fuse. The creature warns that if the explosion does not kill him, he will hunt Victor down and finish him off. An explosion occurs. Sometime later, the creature regains consciousness and begins to regenerate. In a rage, he sets off in pursuit of Victor, who the sailors have already taken aboard the ship. We return to the captain's cabin. Victor sincerely repents and asks the creature for forgiveness, calling him his son. The creature forgives his creator. Shortly after Victor dies from his injuries, the captain, moved by their story, orders the sailors not to hinder the creature and to let him leave the ship. As he departs, the creature decides to help them and pushes the ship out of the icy trap. The captain comes to the conclusion that not all questions are worth seeking answers for. He orders the sails lowered and the ship turned around. Joyful, the sailors head home. The creature, meanwhile, walks to the edge of the world, greeting a new sunrise in solitude. And that's where the movie Frankenstein ends. If you enjoyed the video, hit like and subscribe. This was Ururikun.